Drutter here, November the 28th. When I was crossing the border several years ago, before I started this channel, before I really was aware of what was going on in the world around me, something triggered the border guards, or maybe it was random, but one way or the other, I was brought inside the building and questioned for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And during the course of that questioning, I was not only searched, but I was also told, "You have no rights here." And that was before I knew really the first thing about rights, but hearing that statement scared me, because I had always assumed that I did have rights and that they followed me around wherever I went. And I wasn't quite sure what those rights were, but I was pretty sure that I had some. And to suddenly be told that I had no rights was scary. I actually don't know if that's true or not. I know it's mentioned at the border a lot, and it can be mentioned during interrogations and stuff. You can be told that you have no rights. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's just a tactic, and yeah, they are allowed to lie to you. I remember feeling very afraid that I had no rights, not even the right to my own life, and that they could kill me, and I wouldn't be able to really do anything about it. And when you think about it, that's true. They could have killed me. They had the weapons to do it. I had nothing to defend myself on me. There was 6 or 7 of them. There was one of me. I wasn't trained in combat. They are. So it would have been very easy for them to kill me. Whether or not there would have been legal repercussions afterward, or some kind of political blowback or something from my family and friends that were upset at what had happened, I don't know. But the fact is, if I had rights or not, they could have taken them from me at that point. And I didn't even know if I had any rights, to be honest. I think telling me that had the desired effect, which was to make me afraid and to throw me off guard so that they could continue to question me. Yeah, it was quite scary to be told that I have no rights, but I'm here today to tell you that you don't have any rights, none whatsoever. Where do you think your rights come from, if you really think you have some rights? Go ahead and try and come up with an answer to that question. Where do your rights come from? And what are they? Do your rights come from your family members, perhaps, your parents when you're younger, and then other family members or members of your community? Of course not. Your parents may have told you about rights. They may have taught you about rights. Unfortunately, most parents don't teach their kids this today at all. But even if they did teach you that you have rights, that doesn't mean that you have rights. Because there's only one way to have rights, and that is to both claim and to protect those rights. If you don't claim your rights yourself, you don't have any. And if you can't and won't protect them yourself, you don't have any rights. You must make and protect your own rights. Another source people often give for where their rights come from is documents. For example, the Constitution of different countries often says that the citizens have rights. But we've seen in the past 100 years or so, there's no rights really that can't be taken away. They're not observed. These documents are nothing more than sentimental ideas. They're no longer in effect. And like I said, they're not given lip service even really anymore. So your rights don't come from documents. They don't come from your family. Well, maybe your rights come from God or gods. A lot of people will say that rights come from gods, and they'll bring up the idea of inalienable rights, which means rights that just can never be taken away. But what does that really mean? Because they can be taken away. We've seen it, and we're seeing it now. There's many of us that have had their rights taken, and it's happening all the time to many of us as well. So, no, your rights don't come from God. Also, have you ever heard any mention of rights in the Bible or any other sacred texts? No. There's never been any mention of rights in the Bible. Your rights don't come from the Bible. They don't come from deities. Have you ever been taught in church what your rights were? I certainly never was. A lot of people will say that their rights come from the government, but not for the past 100 years or so, not in the Western world. Where did you get that idea? The government's working to take away and destroy your rights. The government educates its citizens, supposedly, but rights are not taught in schools. You never were taught about your rights in schools. Maybe 50 years ago you were taught about your rights in schools. Today? Absolutely not. The government doesn't give you your rights, they don't protect your rights, and they never will. The government is not the source of your rights. Your parents, your family, the community, that's not a source of your rights. Documents, not a source of rights. Gods or God, not a source of rights. Churches, no, not even taught in churches. What about activists and very famous people who fight for rights, like Ron Paul and others? Is that where rights come from? No. They can just teach us about our rights. They can talk about it, and they can spread awareness about rights, but that is not where they come from. So I can't think of any other potential sources where rights may come from. I know it doesn't come from any of the ones that I've named. The idea of rights is just something that humans have come up with. It doesn't come from deities, it doesn't come from nature, it doesn't come from documents. It's just something in the mind of humans. And I do agree with the concept of rights, but I'm just telling you, you don't have any unless you claim them and protect them yourself. If you disagree with that statement, I invite you to send me a private message, because there's no comment section because of the Google Plus thing right now, and let me know where you think your rights come from, and how you know that that source of your rights is going to protect your rights. For example, if you believe your rights come from the God that you believe in, what will happen if the police come to your door and say they're going to search your house without a warrant? Will that God protect you from your rights being invaded? I don't think so. If you believe that your rights come from the government, why is the government trying to take away your rights and succeeding at it? If we truly had the right to liberty, wouldn't we be allowed to grow whatever plants we want in our yards as long as we're not using them to harm others? But that's not the case. We can't grow whatever plants we want. We don't exist in a system that embodies liberty at all. There are no rights other than those that you claim and protect yourself. So I'm going to take this opportunity to claim a right of my own publicly. I claim the right to have and express any ideas I want, as long as I'm not using those ideas and that expression to hurt others. Furthermore, I will protect that right to the death. It is the most important right that I have. If I don't have the right to question authority, if I don't have the right to my own thoughts, if I don't have the right to speak, online, offline, wherever, if I don't have the right to believe what I want to believe, to say what I want to say, to express myself in the way I want to express myself, as long as I'm not doing it to harm others, if I don't have the right to be skeptical, if I don't have the right to be outspoken, if I don't have the right that many call the right to free speech, then I'm already up for grabs, and I'm already lost. Give me liberty, or give me death.